Hello everyone, my name is Alireza. I'm product owner of iOS team at TrueColor, and I'm very happy to be here today to talk about TrueSDK. So I will start with a very short intro about TrueColor. What is TrueColor for those of you who don't know, and then I would briefly explain what our app does, and then after that I will explain why we think that TrueSDK is something that is going to solve some very important problems for the development community. And after that, my colleague Guven would show you the demo and then explain the technical details. And at the end, we'll have some surprise. Okay, so what is TrueColor? I'm sure many of you already know this, but just for the people who don't know about the exact numbers and the history of the company, TrueColor was founded in 2009, and we have seen a very huge growth, especially in the emerging markets. And so at the moment, we have more than 250 million users, and in our database, we have more than 2.2 billion searchable numbers, and we are the world's largest phone directory. When it comes to the spam protection, on a monthly basis, we identify or block 460 million spam calls. And the company is backed by very well-known investors, which have invested in big companies like Google, Amazon, and Klarna. So what is the TrueColor app? So these screenshots are from iOS application. In general, the core functionality of the app is helping you identify unknown callers. So when somebody calls you and you don't have the number in your phone book, you can see who is the person who is calling you. And if the person who is calling also has the TrueColor app installed, you will get a notification with the name of the person who is calling you. And on the other hand, we are helping users to have protection against spam calls. And thanks to the call kit feature, which was introduced in iOS 10, we have a native integration. So in your native incoming caller screen, when a spammer calls you, you can see that this number is a spam, and you might want to think twice before taking the call. But this is just a very core functionality of the application, and we provide lots of other cool features. We have like a full dialer, and you can see the availability of people before calling them, etc., which I don't want to go into details because the presentation is about TrueSDK. So before talking about TrueSDK, I want to briefly mention that we are very huge in India, and India is our biggest market. And in the previous CocoaHeads meetup that we had here, I explained that why TrueColor became so successful in India and has become a very well-known brand. I mean, after Facebook and WhatsApp, we are the largest app in India. And this is not something that we decided that we want to be big in India. The reason of this is that when the company was founded, the founders of the company were thinking globally. From the beginning, we were available in all app stores. I mean, nowadays, we are mainly talking about Google Play and App Store. But like back in 2009, there was lots of other stores like Nokia stores, BlackBerry, and Windows phone, and like any kind of store you can think of, we were like existing in those stores. But these are the topics that I mentioned in the last presentation, and today we will cover that why it is important for the app developers to understand these emerging markets if they want to grow exponentially and be successful in the growing and emerging markets. And this is like very interesting because 2 out of 3 smartphones in India, they have TrueColor app installed. So what is TrueSDK? TrueSDK is a frictionless one-tap onboarding. It allows you to onboard users only with one tap, and it provides an instant verification. And why this TrueColor, this kind of experience is important? So one of the biggest problems for the app developers nowadays is onboarding users. And unfortunately, like 56% of users who install the app, they never finish registration. I mean, this is huge. I mean, if you think about it, companies that spend millions of dollars, lots of money on user acquisition, but if the majority of these users never sign up for the service or finish registration for your service, you are losing money. I mean, what is the point of that? And of course, there are many, many different reasons for this, which I'm sure you all know about, but today we are going to focus on the sign-up friction, the sign-up friction points. Just to give you some examples. For example, if in your sign-up and onboarding process you have a very cumbersome and long sign-up form, that is going to be friction point. I mean, if I see this form, I might just say, okay, this is not worth it, and I leave the app. As simple as that. I never come back. And the problem with the passwords and emails. I mean, even maybe for us, because we are mostly tech-savvy people, this is not a problem. But I have personally helped my grandpa and my mother and father many times to remember their passwords, to like, please click on this forget password link, check your email, blah, blah, blah. That's a lot of hassle for non-tech-savvy people. And then we wonder why only 44% of people finish the registration. Because that's a huge problem for them to remember their password. It's not like an easy thing. And recently we have seen that it's becoming a trend that many mobile apps, they sign up users using their mobile phone. Because they want to stay away from this hassle of like using your email, confirm your email address, like remember your password, blah, blah. But even when you sign up using phone numbers, there's still friction points. Because you have to possibly choose the country and enter your phone number. And especially on small devices, there's a chance that you would mistype your phone number. And if you do that, you would send the request and then you would never receive a verification code. And you would just give up and you would leave. And even if you enter the number correctly, you have to wait. So this might not be a big deal for us. I'm sure many of you have used these services, and when you ask for the verification code, boom, it's on your phone, you see it, you type it, done. But in the real world, if you think globally, it is not like that. I mean, we are working with more than 17 SMS verification providers and doing a lot of hard work to make sure that in different areas, like far away, like in some villages in India, that there is only one operator working, this verification code would work. So this is not, we shouldn't think only about the infrastructure in Sweden and think that everything is going to be super smooth and fast. No, that is not the reality. The fact is that many users would take for them a few minutes or would never receive the verification code. And what would you do as a user? You would give up. Okay, I'm out. So, but in addition to these friction points, there are much, much bigger problems than only the friction points that we have seen we can think of. This might be a surprise, but in emerging markets, 70% of smartphone users, they are not regularly using a social media account. I mean, for us, if you look around us, I mean, this is crazy. Everybody around us, they have at least a Facebook, Twitter, something, like a Gmail or something. But in emerging markets, it's totally different ecosystem. It doesn't work like this. Just to give you an idea, we have more than 1 billion population in India. So far, only 200 million users have smartphones. And this number is growing very, very fast. And all of these new users, like most of these new people who joined the smartphone boom, they are not coming from a background that they have used to have a PC or computer or email or Facebook or anything. They used to have a feature phone, and now they are saying everybody they need to have a smartphone for their daily needs, and they buy a smartphone, and they try to do whatever they used to do with their feature phones using a smartphone. Usually, when somebody walks into the retail store in India and they buy their first smartphone, the salesperson, the first thing that they do, they install WhatsApp for them and TrueColor. That's kind of preloaded for free for us. That's a very great thing. And so what does it mean? It means that these people, they don't have Facebook or Google or Twitter. And so for this kind of target, which is a huge target users, adding like a Facebook login for you, it doesn't help. Because the guy doesn't have a Facebook. Adding a Twitter login, it doesn't really help. So for these kind of markets, the real identity of the people are their phone numbers. It is not their social media accounts that they don't even have. And I'm sure most of you know that even Apple has started focusing on markets like India very, very heavily. I mean, they have opened offices there. They have started developer relationship there. They do a lot of activities because they have understood that if they only think about reach and like established markets, they cannot stay in the game. They would lose the game. And I think as a developer, we want to be sharp and like be ahead of the others. We need to think the same. We need to understand the needs of people in these kind of markets, which are going to be the next big markets for many different fields of IT industry. And so this is a big problem, and I will explain how TrueSDK is solving it. So why somebody should use TrueSDK? So as you can see here, if you integrate TrueSDK in your app, then instantly you are providing a one-touch phone number-based and frictionless sign-up. So from here, one tap, user sees, confirms, boom, logged in. As simple as that. No extra verification, no waiting time, nothing. And this is secure. What do I mean by secure? This is secure, and this is like a big differentiator compared to other kind of sign-up accounts like Facebook or Twitter, because phone numbers are unique. You only have one phone number, maybe a dual SIM card, which luckily Apple hasn't invented yet. So it means that Truecaller user will have only one account. Of course, they can deactivate and create a new account, but they can at any time they can only have one account. One of the biggest problems with logging with Facebook or like a Gmail is that people. I have personally done this. I have a fake Gmail account, and for any service, I don't use my regular email, so they start spamming me. I'm using my fake Gmail, which I never ever check. So this is a big problem for having a healthy user community, and Truecaller is solving this problem by providing a spam-free user onboarding experience. Another good reason to use TrueSDK is that we have eliminated two main friction points. So because we have already done the one-time password, the OTP verification once, and you do not need to repeat this again, which means you don't need to pay for an SMS provider for your OTP, because we have already done that. So these two steps would be eliminated, and there is no reason for user to wait for the SMS, leave the app, read the SMS, type the SMS. All of these steps are gone if you use TrueSDK for your sign up. So one more reason to use TrueSDK is the flexibility of the SDK, because it is totally up to you as a developer that how do you want to use the TrueColor SDK. Because for example, you can use it for registration, or there are many cases, for example, e-commerce apps. They usually do not force sign up the user. They make the sign up optional, so you can see all the goods and everything, and when you want to check out, they ask for your information, right? So in these kind of use cases, they want to do just simply an autofill of a form. In a browser, this is already taken care of by the browser, because you can use the autofill feature of Chrome or any other browser that you are using. I should say Safari here, sorry. You can use the Safari autofill. But on mobile apps, for native apps, there is no such thing existing right now. And TrueSDK is solving that problem by using TrueSDK, by only one tap on the button, boom, the form is filled in. And this is the power of TrueSDK and the flexibility of it. So now it's demo time.
I'll start with a demo before I dig deep into the design and the decisions we made, the conclusions we have reached. So in the screen, you'll see, this is my device, and you can see there are two apps. One is TrueColor, this is our main app, and one is TrueHost, which is a sample app that we provide to every developer in our website. So TrueHost is the app which integrated TrueSDK in its project. I open this one, and you will see a regular sign-up form. And as Alireza mentioned, with a single click in autofill with TrueColor, it will switch to the TrueColor app. And then the TrueColor app will contact our backend, the TrueColor servers, and retrieve your profile data for the currently signed in user. So this is my own profile. As you can see, there's my profile picture, and the button says my name. If you click the drop down, you will see the other fields of data, which is going to share it with the host app. I'll confirm this and return back to the actual app which made the request, and you will see that my profile data is sent over there and it's ready to be used. So so that's it for the demo. We wanted some SDK which was easy to use and easy to integrate, so that's why the demo kind of took a short time. And I would like to get on with the design concerns that we had while developing TrueSDK. These three were the most important focus points. The security was important because we were going to share some sensitive data between two apps. We wanted things to be easy for the users and also the developers, so that the developers can focus on more important stuff, because we know you got a lot to do and we wouldn't like you to spend time on some integration. And we wanted to be lightweight so that we don't bloat up your apps, and also because we are quite strong in some emerging markets where the mobile data costs are high, we wouldn't like them to download some huge binary file, but we wanted things to happen in the TrueColor app. So when it comes to security, we took a different approach than the regular URL schemes. And we are using the app key, which is generated by us and assigned to every TrueColor TrueSDK developer, and also a universal link, which is also used for the inter-app communication. So this is the current architecture we have. As you can see, it's pretty simple. And I'm going to show you what would have happened if we have used URL schemes. As you know, URL schemes have been there since iOS 2, and universal links just appeared in iOS 9, but it really helped us a lot in simplifying our architecture. So this is what would have happened if we wanted the same security measures using URL schemes. So I'm hoping some of you don't have much info on universal links, so that I can give you a brief info. I'm sorry for saying that, but it was something new for us, so we wanted to share. So universal links, they actually look very much like regular URLs. You can see a like a sample universal link there, followed by a URL scheme. So it's not something to be scared of. With universal links, you can create a secure connection between a website and then an app. And that's how you can use a regular URL to open another app instead of it opening in Safari or some other browser. And the other good part was that the universal links are unique, so they cannot be shared or they cannot be claimed by other apps. Whereas in URL schemes, the first one who actually registers the scheme gets the priority and gets all the messages. And by using your universal links, we avoided having interceptions in our messaging between two apps. So to set up universal links, you need to create one association file, which is in a JSON format. And it's a very simple one. You can find a sample in developer.apple.com. But it basically says which types of links, which types of paths that you can handle in your app and which you don't want to handle so that they go to Safari. So after you create and upload the association file, you need to add an entitlement, a URL, which is just like a one-line change in your entitlements file. You need to do this in Xcode. After everything is fixed, you can handle all the deep linking in app delegate by looking at the NS user activity objects that you receive. So, as I said, we try to keep everything as light as possible. And your app, when you integrate TrueSDK, isn't going to do much except forwarding requests to the main TrueColor app. We didn't do any, we don't need any additional libraries for networking or for other stuff. And you can use it just as its own. You can just drag and drop our framework. And at the moment, the whole framework occupies only 200 kilobytes, so which is not going to be a huge hit on your app size. So I tried to show you it's easy to use TrueSDK as a user, but also we wanted things to be easy for the developers. And we decided to go with the common conventions and distribute it from CocoaPods. If you don't want to do it, of course, you can do it manually. You can set up easily by giving your credentials, which you can obtain from our developer portal. And we have added one button with a template, like a specific design. You can switch between a couple of designs that we provide and make your profile requests through there. But you can also do it manually, like you can use our SDK and make your calls there. And after you make a profile request, all you need to do is to wait for our delegate methods to be fired, and you should be fine. So after this slide, I'll leave the stage again to Alireza. So I think he has some good news to share with you. And thank you guys for listening to me.
So as I explained, TrueSDK is very, very flexible, and as it was mentioned in the beginning, TrueSDK is launched last year on Android platform, and we have seen a lot of interest from big brands, especially in markets that we are strong, like India. These are just a few examples of existing live apps which have integrated through SDK. Some of these brands you might recognize, like Monster.com. They are global brands, but most of it are Indian brands, which has been our main focus in 2016. And these are big apps. They are usually have more than 5 million users, and some of them even have 10 to 50 million users, like quicker is like Blocket in India. MobiKwik is the biggest mobile payment application in India. Oyo is like Booking.com in India. So these are all the live TrueSDK integrations that we have on Android, and they will start integrating TrueSDK on iOS as soon as it goes live. And the reason that we have that many different type of apps in different categories using TrueSDK is that it's very flexible. This is some real examples of screenshots of the real apps. And as you can see, this app only uses for the autofill. Here they are like offering TrueColor as a one-tap login alternative. And this is my favorite because this partner, they had different social media accounts on Twitter at the same time. And then they realized that the conversion rate of TrueColor is much higher. And then in their UI, they're emphasizing the signing with TrueColor using a bigger button. So these are the live apps, that just some examples of it, which shows the flexibility of the SDK. And just to summarize, that what is it in it for your app? So you would have a frictionless phone number-based sign up without any cost, because we have already taken care of the cost for you. And it's going to be ultra lightweight. What was it, like 190 kilobytes? And it's like very quick, in a matter of minutes or hours you can integrate to the SDK. And I think one of the very important points, which I haven't talked about it, is that as you start integration to the TrueSDK, immediately you will have like a global reach to all the TrueColor users that would benefit from this feature. And we have been working very hard on TrueSDK project for iOS to make sure that all the requirements that Guva mentioned are met in this SDK. And I'm very happy today to announce that today, after this meetup, we are opening up our early access program. So you can take a picture from this QR code, and if you haven't noticed yet, you can see this QR code in different places in the office. So please join our early access program, and we will basically, this is going to be like a closed beta program, and we will invite you like after a few days after the sign up. Hopefully in a few days we will have an application in the test flight, because we haven't published the app to the App Store yet. We want to get your feedback and like fix the problems, if any, before going live. And there will be some prizes, and including mentioning your app in TrueColor website and give you some coverage. And we will pick the participants who have provided the most constructive feedback. Thank you.